All right, good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us today here, the second week of 2018. Hope you guys had a good holiday season and a good New Year's, but we're back at it and we're ready to start 2018 here for you. Some couple housekeeping rules before we get started. Today's webinar is in fact recording. If you join in later or you have to leave early due to the fact that you have another meeting you need to attend to, this webinar will be recording. We'll send this recording out tomorrow morning, so make sure you check your email inboxes for that. Also, as we go along here, we do recommend questions. Questions are a great way to get to know you a little bit better and interact with you. That way it's a little bit fun and enjoyable for everyone involved. So make sure that you ask your questions in the questions panel. As you can see here, we showed you where it is on this GoToWebinar control panel. Last but not least here, we do have some handouts for you. We gave you a handout of the SiteLink e-commerce cart, a little bit about multi-channel order manager, and this particular slide deck here, so you can take it along, view the links that we have in here in terms of sources, so you can actually go along and see how everything went during the 2017 holiday season and learn a little bit more about some of the predictions we saw for 2018. So, without further ado, the person that's talking the most right now is your product marketing manager here at Freestyle Solutions. I am Sean Taggart. I've been with the company for about 5 years. In February it'll be, time flies. Prior to being on the marketing side, I was in support and implementation, so I was able to understand some of the problems and stuff that came in when you had questions about M.O.M and SiteLink. Also with me and part of the marketing team as well is James Cahill. James, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, Sean. Pleasure to be with everyone today and looking forward to this presentation. I came to Freestyle in September of last year, and my focus is with marketing, and happy to participate in this and happy to share both our observations on 2017 and, more importantly for all of us, what lies ahead for 2018 for e-commerce.
Sure. Thanks, Jim. So the agenda is going to be straightforward. We're going to give you an introduction to the company itself, Freestyle Solutions. We'll talk about 2017 and recap the holiday season, give you some figures in terms of revenue, what we saw in terms of the whole e-commerce industry itself. We'll take a little pause there for some station identification or some questions for you guys to think of some questions that you may have. Jim will then take over and talk a little bit about 2018 predictions. We'll go over and mention to you guys how we can help you with our SiteLink e-commerce cart and multi-channel order manager inventory and order management solution. And obviously, we will take a pause for some final questions, final thoughts before wrapping it up for you today. So, Freestyle Solutions as a company is built on 30 years of experience building order and inventory management software. Obviously, we have the e-commerce cart in there as well with SiteLink. They helped invent the inventory order management space at the software category back in 1985. Two brothers were at the helm selling sheet music, and they wanted a way to help manage and track their orders and inventory from their catalog business. So they came up with this software here right now, and it's trusted by over 2,000 live customers. Our customer profile is as simple as this. We look for e-commerce merchants within the verticals of health and beauty, apparel, food and beverage, nutraceuticals, sporting goods, automotive, books and publishing, and many more. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more that we could have mentioned there. And we look at online revenues up to $75 million annually. Obviously, you can be a pure play e-commerce site, or you may have a brick and mortar presence as well. Our customers here are seeking automation for their back office processes for order and inventory management. They also may have multiple sales channels and multiple warehouses that they need to easily manage, getting away from the Excel or Google Docs spreadsheets, getting away from all the manual processes and wanting to automate in some way, shape, or form, making it easier for them to run their day-to-day. So with that being said, let's get into the exciting part. Let's talk about some numbers that we saw from the 2017 holiday season, and let's start with Black Friday. So as you can see here, those small retailers scored big. In general, we consider small retailers as selling $10 million or less in annual revenue. Those who are optimized and are heavily favored, optimized mobile shopping visits, saw their visits to their sites converting 2 times the rate of big retailers with 100 million or more in sales. So you're going to see a little bit of a theme here as we go along. One of the things that we are going to be heavily talking about is mobile e-commerce, both on the tablet and mobile devices like your cell phones. You can see here the average shopping cart values were high on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is now a very big day for e-commerce sites, as you can see here. On average, your average cart value on Thanksgiving was $180 compared to $168 on Black Friday. Still a decent chunk and change if it, you look at it. But one of the things to point out here is Black Friday, mobile is king. Mobile generated 47.4% of site visits, generating another 33.1% of online revenue. Compared to last year, that almost doubled in itself. I mean, a lot of people like the ease of use of, they always have their phone on them. They always have a tablet around them if they're sitting on the couch at home. If they're, by their desk and their computer's turned off, they have a tablet that's easily able to turn on, and they don't have to wait for the boot up times. If you have a Windows computer or a Mac computer at home, you can just easily go on and start using that tablet or that mobile device right away. So people are easily going ahead and starting to use those devices quickly. Now, in terms of overall revenue for that day, Thanksgiving accounted for $2.87 billion in online revenue, while Black Friday did another $5.03 billion. So there was a lot of money being spent that day, both days actually. But it's very interesting to note as we go on to the busiest holiday shopping of the year for online, Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday did a great job of seeing 16.8 year-over-year growth in terms of revenue. That revenue for Cyber Monday overall was $6.59 billion. Last year did around 4.73. So you can actually see that the revenue stream was growing, and people were actually excited about the deals that were offered. It wasn't just Amazon making these deals. A lot of online retailers, a lot of online e-tailers were making sure that they were taking advantage of this day more so than previous years, more so than even Black Friday. They saw this as a very important day in the holiday season compared to most times previous years. They were taking Cyber Monday a little bit more seriously than before. Once again, also looking at Cyber Monday, 47.4% of traffic came from mobile devices, and they also did another 33.1% of revenue. Overall traffic for Cyber Monday was up 11.9% year over year, and $2 billion in revenue came from mobile devices alone. Out of that $6.59 billion, $2 billion of it came from your mobile phone or your tablet. Like I said, the major thing here, and Jim, I don't know if you want to add anything. I'm coming in from the millennial point of view. Obviously, Jim's not a millennial.
I am not a millennial.
Nowadays, a lot of people, especially millennials like myself, we like the ease of use. We like the quick action of being able to grab your cell phone, being able to grab the tablet to quickly go ahead and make a purchase right then and there. Jim, are you still going on your laptop, desktop to do that?
You know what, Sean? I'm much more comfortable using mobile devices now. We're talking about a seismic change in the way that people approach this whole shopping event. I mean, we're zeroed in on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but in truth, what we're looking at is the totality of those days, the day before Thanksgiving and even Cyber Monday, and there was an event name for Tuesday as well. So we're looking at a multi-day shopping event here. And yes, mobile devices have taken over the imagination of the consumer and utility of the consumer. And we're all becoming more comfortable accomplishing more tasks, either simple or complex. I mean, honestly, I still do like to do some of my shopping for bigger purchases where I can do some comparison for statistics, some consumer reports and reviews. Yes, some of that is best done on a laptop or some sort of desktop device. But increasingly, the numbers show us that people are very, very comfortable on mobile devices, and that a mobile device strategy is such an important part of anyone's business, be you a brick and mortar retailer with an e-commerce business, or more for our audience, a pure play or mixed mode e-commerce provider. And this trend is, we can only imagine, and we'll talk about it a little bit, you can only imagine how mobile sales will continue to increase, how big a percentage of mobile devices will account for overall sales, and how that will change the way we think about our business.
Exactly. And I mean, to piggyback off of what Jim just said, I guess I consider me old-fashioned a little bit. Like I said, I am a millennial. I like to, make that quick, easy purchase or do that quick review on my phone or a tablet if I have one easily available. But when it comes to like an important purchase, like, for example, a computer purchases nowadays are considered like one of those life-changing purchases that you have to make. Everyone has a computer in their household. So you want to make sure that you're doing the right research, and you may not get that screen, be able to see everything all on one screen on a tablet or definitely your phone. Your phones aren't going to be that big compared to a tablet, but at least on a desktop or a laptop, I can have multiple screens open at once to compare and contrast. It's a lot more cleaner and a little bit more easier to view. But the shift is going to mobile. So we don't want to, take away from the impact that desktop and, your laptops have and stuff like that. But it's important to know, that mobile's taken over, and it's going to slowly, that growth is going to continue to go up bit by bit.
And Sean, I think an important point to consider here, as you look at how mobile has changed and how people are gravitating towards purchases on mobile sites, and we're going to be diving into this in just a few short minutes. But one of the things that a proper mobile strategy and a recognition of the importance of mobile can do, it can build brand loyalty. And even for more complex sales, even higher ticket sales, and I'll use Sean's example of a computer versus perhaps a shirt or a pair of pants, is if you have brand loyalty and that's supported by the mobile strategy, people are more comfortable making those large purchases on a mobile device. Without that, it becomes more difficult. And that's an important consideration to think of as you develop your mobile strategy in response to the trends that we'll be talking about for 2018.
Sure. Now, to give you an overall recap, just talking about from November 1st to December 31st, this is where a lot of people see the holiday season. 58 out of the 61 days reached $1 billion in revenue or more. That is a huge number. $1 billion is a lot of money. But, that's pretty impressive that out of, the 61 days, 58 of them hit that big number. Also, looking at all the total revenue, mobile accounted for $35.8 billion in revenue during that same time frame. $25 billion came from smartphones, $10.8 billion on tablets. Sorry. According to Adobe, smartphone traffic was 46% of the traffic during the holiday season, accounted for 27% of all purchases. Tablet accounted for another 10%, and that accounted for 13% of purchases. So what we're seeing here, and like we've been stressing and talking about, is we're seeing that type of change in everything that's been going on in terms of the changes in the marketplace and how they handle, website design, how they handle ease of use and ease of access to get you the stuff that you need pretty easily when it comes to a nice, easy, built-to-use website on a mobile device like a tablet or your phone. So we're going to take a quick break here. Feel free to come in with any questions. We're going to do a little bit of 2018 predictions, and we'll be right back in a few minutes. All right, so we are back here. Thanks for taking the quick time out. Feel free to ask questions in the questions panel. Feel free to comment anything that you want to comment about here. But I'm going to throw it over to Jim, and we're going to talk about some predictions for 2018.
So again,
we can't stress enough, back to mobile. And I think the top line really says it all. It's so important to have a clear idea of what your mobile strategy should be. And if you look at what the experts are predicting, it's up to 50% of all site traffic for the upcoming Black Friday. And as we all know, given how important holiday sales are to the retail industry, that it's never too early to start preparing for Christmas again, even though we just turned the corner on it. But estimates are about 50%, and my personal suspicion is this number could be just blown away. But 50% of all site traffic during the upcoming post-Thanksgiving holiday spending spree will be performed on mobile devices. And that's primarily smartphones, not to diminish the role of tablets, but the mobility of a smartphone, being able to ride in a car and shop while someone's driving around. Hopefully, you're not shopping while you're driving, but to be in a mall or a store to be able to comparison shop, and that's one of the reasons that drives mobile traffic up through the stratospheric levels we have here. And if you just look about some of the characteristics of mobile sales, so you know that people want a good buying experience, and what that really means to us is a site that's structured and designed to be navigated easily on a mobile phone. Our mobile phones come in a great variety of sizes to what's known as phablets, which is that device that's in between a smartphone and a tablet, down to smaller generation iPhones where there's a real premium on screen size. So you have to do all these things to come up with an attractive site. The other thing that was demonstrated by great statistics during the holiday season, or the analysis of the holiday season, was the speed of the site. And we have to pay careful attention to this. You have to watch what add-ons or maybe on your site. You have to worry about how your site loads and the speed of your provider. Because one thing for certain we know, that shoppers are impatient today. They expect an awful lot. And if your site does not load properly, they will move on, and you will lose sales. So you have the best site, the best design site, the most attractive images, but if your carrier or your supporting infrastructure does not match your own goals and your own speed, you could be losing sales, and it's not something that any of us want to see happen. The other thing, too, is that you should have a common experience. So there's thoughts about this. Should your sites exactly mirror each other regardless of device? Or at the very least, they should provide a common theme and a common product layout and a common way to describe and display images and product descriptions. Something that you need to think about and something that you need to work towards. It's a very, very important feature of your mobile site. Responsive design is a term that we use here in the industry that talks about how your site loads, and Sean can add some more detail to that, Sean, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. Now, I mean, responsive design, obviously, it's a great way, and this will help with the point above that Jim was just talking about, is how your site experience should be consistent across desktop, tablet, and mobile devices. The responsive design takes that element and notices based on the screen that you're looking at or the device that you're on, what site to load. So it's a lot easier, and it makes it quicker for your users to go on and use that particular site. I mean, there are sites still out there that, you don't have a mobile presence, don't just use their desktop website, and it's kludgy and clunky for the user to go ahead and, view their website or get what they want. A responsive design takes that real estate that they have in terms of the screen and really works on making sure that it's taking all that real estate and working properly. One thing that, is key here to point to is back to the speed performance. It recognizes that device and also helps make sure that the loading times are efficient and quicker based on that style that it's on. If it's on a mobile device, it knows to handle on that. If it's on a tablet, it knows how to handle the speed and performance on that. So it recognizes the device and adjusts accordingly based on the response it should get.
Thank you, Sean. Something else we talked about before was brand loyalty. So I think the common perspective for e-tailers is to think of their mobile site as a way to perform commerce and a way to capture imagination and interest and to hold customers there. And yes, that is absolutely true, and conducting commerce and having people buy your products is the most important reason for your mobile site and is why you're in business. But there's another element to this that's become more popular to think of over the past year or so, due to the explosion of mobile sales and mobile devices, is that your site should also engender brand loyalty. And by that, we mean everything that it implies, that by coming to your site, the experience, the product selection, the ease of usage will instill in your customers and prospective customers loyalty to your product. And it could potentially help you to overcome some other obstacles if your site experiences a problem with speed one day, or there may be a shortage of some of your key products. People, if they enjoy your site, if they value your site, if your site responds well to them, both from a product perspective, fulfilling their needs, and also from an experience perspective, and experience is king here, you will have instilled brand loyalty in them, and you will have loyal customers. So Amazon, boy, predicting what Amazon's going to do, a lot of people have gone wrong with this. Just look at the variety of things up here. I'll give you just a moment to scan this. So I think the question here is, what won't they do? I mean, who saw them buying Whole Foods? There's been rumors that they're going to buy Target. A move into beauty products, and this was a statistic that surprised Sean and I. They already have 21.1%, the largest share of beauty products in the United States. What don't they do, and what won't they do, and how will they do it? We can only go so far making predictions here. I think the best thing we can give you here is a couple of observations. Amazon, by its nature during the Christmas holiday shopping period, a lot of the sales are backloaded. And by that I mean that, people focus on the front end of the holiday season on making a wider selection of products. And they will make those purchases. And a couple of things will happen. As they do their research, consumers may find the products that they want, they may not. They may be happy with the price, selection, and availability of products, or they may not. And they may simply forget to buy something. Wake up in a cold sweat some other night that you've forgotten your spouse's or significant other's gift. You have to do it. And I admit, I lay in bed at night while my wife is sleeping and bought things on my tablet. And I'm not too proud to admit it. And you know what? I didn't want to think of the consequences.
You're not the only one.
Yep. So, there's a lot of things that you do, we all do in the course of a day to deal with the shorter time frame that we have to navigate our daily lives. So, by nature, the back end of Amazon's holiday sales do occur later in the season because they're the one source that you can have confidence in that you can order today and have it shipped to you by Christmas Eve. But I think there's a recognition upon their part that they're giving or leaving something on the table. And you know what? There's been some speculation that they may come up with an event prior to Black Friday that may diminish the impact of Black Friday. And that hurts smaller retailers. So can we guarantee that? No. But I think it's always great to think with Amazon is to wonder and pay attention to what they're going to do, not to be afraid with them, not to be consumed or distracted by them, but to recognize that they may do things that will make it harder for you to do business or prove difficult to respond to. And as the last line says, whatever they do, expect it to matter. Expect, because they are the big player here, their events, their strategy has an effect on the market. So just what you need, another player to come into the marketplace and make your life difficult, or create opportunities. So Walmart is dead serious from what we can tell and what the market can tell about competing with Amazon. They don't want to be left outside. That title of America's and largest retailer is very, very important to them, and it's traded back and forth, and you know what? They're not happy about it. So they've made huge investments in their back-end technology, in their infrastructure, in their thought process, in their marketing efforts. They are becoming more serious about becoming a marketplace, about adding new sellers, and that presents opportunity to some of the people on this call today. And look at what they've done. Seismic changes is not even the proper word to give the correct emphasis to what they've done. They bought Jet.com, which was a kind of a lowercase Amazon competitor. Bonobos was a startup men's fashion and fashionable retailer, and they invited Lord & Taylor into the marketplace. So they don't own Lord & Taylor, but this is interesting to the market because Lord & Taylor fills a gap. Walmart has always had a reputation as being a value provider, value clothing, value appliances and value everything else. Lord & Taylor is a bit more of an upscale retailer. And if you can take one thing away from this, from Lord & Taylor's participation in the Walmart marketplace, is that Walmart realized that they had a gap and they needed to fill it. And Lord & Taylor fills a pretty sizable gap for them in upscale men's, women's, and children's clothing. It adds an element of fashion and excitement to what Walmart does, and it puts them in a position to be able to offer more premium goods and vendors. Perhaps some of those premium vendors that Lord & Taylor offers wouldn't have come to Walmart by themselves, but here they are on Walmart's marketplace. It's a very intriguing and exciting development, and who knows what Walmart's going to do this year. And like Amazon, it won't matter.
So with that, we've been sharing a lot of information. We're just going to take a quick break just so you guys can digest some of the information. If you have some comments, if you have some questions, feel free to ask in the questions bar. We'll be back in 30 seconds. All right, so we're back here. We were talking about Amazon. We've been talking about Walmart here a little bit in terms of the prediction. I mean, one of the things personally that I'm wondering myself is, who else is out there in terms of like the big retailers that are out there? You saw Target, you saw Walmart. A name that you may have forgotten as well is Circuit City. Mm-hmm. They're slowly making a slow comeback at the Consumer Electronics Expo. This past Monday, they announced that they're back and they're going to be better than ever with a more socially driven e-commerce presence. So they're going to be focused on the social media channels such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to make people interested in coming to their site and making those purchases. Also, they're going to have some connected storefronts that make it a little bit more interesting for the customer experience to make sure that they want to purchase in store rather than going somewhere else. So, for example, another good example of a connected experience is what Best Buy did with their home theater system, their high-end home theater service, Magnolia. They took into that consideration that they had a niche market interested in those high-end products, so they made stores, connected stores based on that. So there could be a lot of seismic changes in the retail space, too, that make people compete based on niche markets rather than an overall picture. That's something that we have to consider in as well.
Very true, Sean. And let me add one more to that. In 2017, saw the reappearance online of a very well-known women's clothing retailer, The Limited. They had gone into bankruptcy. They had kept the name, but their storefronts went dark, and their e-commerce site went dark. And they revived that last year as an e-commerce only, but some talk and plans perhaps for stores. But it brings us into some things we talk about later is store closures, Omnichannel, and the effect on the e-commerce marketplace.
Which I think is our next, Omnichannel.
Great timing after that. So I think as e-commerce providers, sometimes we have a tendency to not think of perhaps of what the traditional retailer is doing to be able to close the gap and to be able to, to make themselves more attractive and to make themselves more relevant. And Omnichannel is one of those things, and it will affect your business because stores have this great investment in brick-and-mortar storefronts. And we'll be talking about the state of that market a little bit later on and how that affects you as well. But look at the things that stores are doing. Kohl's has already announced an Amazon partnership. And they're looking at an opportunity, this just is breaking news really, to take some of their unused footage within storefronts and turn it over to local retailers, including food. And Kohl's has not been a company that's done a lot with food. So every retailer with a sizable investment in both real estate and storefronts and employees is thinking of ways to make themselves relevant. Storefronts, even down to the deli level and apartment buildings, embracing Amazon drop stations and those lockers that you see. The omnichannel revolution is here. I mean, we support it here at Freestyle with the ability for our brick and mortar combo e-commerce retailers to be able to use omnichannel functionality. But people are getting creative about it. And this is a big advantage. We all think in terms of speed when we think of e-commerce. And we normally think of speed with delivery. But there isn't a certain advantage in cases to be able to leverage a huge store network across the United States and or Canada to be able to offer order online and in-store pickup. And that pickup can be in 2 hours. So if you're an architect, if you're a real estate agent, if you're on the go as a salesperson, or any other combination, or let your imagination run wild as to why you need something in 2 hours. I mean, you could be inviting people over for the weekend and not be missing something, and you need a new couch. And it's possible now to go or online and pick up a couch in 2 hours. So it's very, very exciting. It's very innovative. And the traditional brick-and-mortar retailer is thinking in different ways. Look at the combinations we have up here. These are only 3 of about the most 7 common uses for e-commerce. And we thought these were the most relevant here. But the fact is that this advancement in omnichannel can erode the business of traditional retailers. And I think we all need to be cognizant of that, and we need to be able to realize that we may be losing customers, not to our competitors, and not for speed of traditional delivery, but to omnichannel. And that's a concern. And we need to develop strategies to combat that. Now, we mentioned store closures. Never a good thing when your business retail is followed by the word apocalypse. Most people are not thrilled by that, but it is true. If you look at the top line there, so we've all seen the wave of store closures and bankruptcies. I mean, Toys R Us, Mattel, some very, very big names in retail and e-commerce and traditional wholesalers. So if you look at the numbers, 12,000 stores and as many as 25 major chains. Those are staggering numbers. You add in to what appears to be life support for Sears and Kmart. And I can tell you as, being a high school student and worked in the Sears, that would be a very, very sad day for me personally. As many of you may remember the prevalence of the Sears catalog and all the good things and imagination that inspired. And to think of Sears as a retail nameplate and icon, the possibility and the very real possibility that they exit the business would be a very sad day indeed. But they're not the only ones. And, as stores try and reinvent themselves, omnichannel, we mentioned one thing, they all turning to e-commerce to be able to strengthen the business and to leverage in-store inventories. Everyone's struggling to figure out how to reinvent themselves. We do see a very interesting change with pure play e-tailers in health and beauty aids, especially women's exercise gear, opening up some storefronts. I mean, even see Amazon opening bookstores. They're the people who put Walden Books and countless other book chains out of the business, and now they're opening bookstores. Who would have ever thought that would have been possible? But there is a logic to this, is you have an opportunity to introduce new products, to build excitement around your brand by putting up pop-up stores. New York Times Square is apparently one of the kings of that. People are willing to open up pop-up stores on a very, very short time frame to be able to introduce new business and to introduce new products and to instill excitement about their brand.
Yep, both Bryant Park and Madison Square Park during the holiday season, pop-up shops everywhere.
It's amazing, Sean. I mean, it really is another seismic shift in the way that retail does business. So I think the takeaway from this is that, we need to be aware of e-tailers and e-commerce experts and e-commerce players that store closures are going to continue, and unfortunately, at least for the jobs landscape, that it may actually accelerate and gain momentum. But at the same time, it does provide both exposure to e-tailers and opportunities for e-tailers, and we all have to think of what our strategy should be and how we combat this and how we can actually turn potential liability into opportunity. The next thing I want to talk about is fulfillment and shipping. And I think everyone in this business is focused on how the opportunity and need to offer free and next day and expedited shipping plays into the marketscape. And both from an operational perspective, how do I do it? And also from, how does it affect my business? Can my business erode if I don't do it? How does it affect my bottom line? So one of the things that we've noted is that people are responding to this in many, many different ways. I mean, some have plowed fully into it and are offering free shipping and expedited shipping, profits be damned, which is an issue. But some have also taken a more thoughtful approach. They're aware of Omnichannel and aware of the competition of yet another element of how shipping, in this case, customer pickup affects it, or customer drop-off for returns. So there's a couple of things you need to consider here, is that it's not just the process of providing free shipping, but the whole velocity, and that's more of a supply chain word that we're all familiar with, but the velocity of commerce is increasing, and it puts a great amount of pressure on back office operations, both from replenishment, purchasing, order velocity, and warehouse and fulfillment throughput. And how do we adapt to that? So there are some very interesting evolution in the type of third-party systems. And we here at Freestyle have embraced that for our own customer base. One of our partners is a company called Shippo, which offers some great tools on the back end to do mode selection, to do cost analysis, to do the best way to drop ship, to comply with a 2-day delivery but not have to pay the full freightage, as you might say, on the cost of it. So some very interesting things that are happening to enable e-commerce and retailers to really deal with this and to get ahead of the curve and to thrive with it. And we encourage everyone to do exactly what the last bullet point says, to review the need to automate, to review transportation spend and mode spend, and also to maximize, and this is something that people are not really thinking about. Think about all the guarantees that your premium shipping services like UPS and Federal Express offer. So they have their deadlines to you and to your customer to commit that they commit to deliver packages. And if they don't make that delivery on time, there's a refund associated with that. And there are tools that help you to automatically capture, to evaluate and capture that refund and have it sent to you. And you know what? When you evaluate the cost of free shipping and expedited shipping and how it affects your profits, isn't it nice to think that you could get a refund automatically for shipments that don't make the grade? Now, that doesn't speak to how well your customers are satisfied. That's a separate discussion. But if you could capture some of the refunds that are automatic, that are due to you automatically, that's a great benefit. And we've engaged with 71 parents to be able to help our customers do that. And that has worked out very, very well for our customers. And we've heard great things from them about how it makes the process easy. They're capturing revenues and refunds that they would never even have thought of automatically. And really, it's a check that arrives, and they're very, very grateful to receive it. And it's in some ways found money and goes straight to the bottom line. So some very exciting things in terms of add-on technology that helps e-commerce retailers.
With that being said, once again, I know we're giving you a lot of information here, so we want to make sure that you're digesting it as quick as possible. So we want to take another quick break here. We're almost done. We see the finish line coming. We'll be right back in like 15, 20 seconds. But please ask us questions if you guys got anything that you want to know, or you have any thoughts and suggestions about best practices that you have done for your holiday season or just general overall. We'll be right back in 15. All right, so we're back here just to do a little quick housekeeping things. If you joined late, I'm Sean. Also talking with me today is Jim. We're both from the marketing team. If you have joined late and you're wondering what happened in the beginning, don't worry. We will be sending out a recording of this. And also handouts are available right now for you guys to download about M.O.M, about SiteLink or e-commerce cart, and also this presentation here today. Couple questions come in, and we want to make sure that we answer them. You mentioned Shippo and 71 pounds. Is there anything more that we should know about both? How, for example, for Shippo, how does that affect my day-to-day? Do I have to still do everything outside of M.O.M, or is it all now connected inside. So everything within Shippo, you do it, you print your label directly within M.O.M itself. You don't have to worry about going outside and using like how you did with FedEx Ship Manager and UPS Link. Everything's done within M.O.M itself. All you have to do is just do your normal process. We do have a video available on our YouTube channel. Just search Freestyle Solutions on YouTube, which shows you how the workflow actually helps benefit you, because you can do everything now within M.O.M Multi-Channel Order Manager rather than stepping outside of it and, making sure that everything's connected and gets back information up to your M.O.M and your marketplace or e-commerce site. Also, another question came in about mobile. Is there any other trends to look out for? Is there anything else that we should be looking out for in terms of where it's going next? Adaptive design is something else. That's the next step of responsive design. That's the next milestone of responsive design. There's not much on it around there right now, but one thing it is going to be able to quickly adapt to your, that's all has to do with how page load and page speed is going to be, plus a few other changes on the coding aspect of it as well. But you're seeing a lot more changes and a lot more help to help you guys out, the customer, and help your customers out in terms of making sure that that page speed, that page loading time, they get that information quick and easy for them to go ahead and make that purchase. And one thing, a quick small purchase like buying a flash drive or buying a piece of clothing. If I'm in a store and I see it cheaper online when I'm looking on my phone for that same piece, it's much easier for me to just make that purchase quickly, easily on my phone, just because of how good and how easy I can maneuver and navigate around the site. So that's all key, and that's important to make sure that and it also goes back to your brand loyalty. If you're big on quality in terms of your product, it also should show on your website and how you adapt to the changes on the website as well in terms of the mobile changes that are happening. So I'm going to throw it back to Jim, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the 2018 predictions, which now we're going to go ahead into security. So Jim?
Thank you, Sean. So security, and wow, there's so much that can happen, so much that can go wrong with ransomware attacks, with phishing attacks. So I would like to tell you that we have the answers for this, and if we did, we'd be in an entirely different business, and Sean and I would be retired. But the reality is that you should expect attacks. It's inevitable. There's some people somewhere doing bad things, planning to make some money in not the nicest ways, and that's just a fact of life. There's many avenues for these attacks, and one of the things we want to share, and we covered in some of our blog posts in late 2017, both from our internal security experts and some of our partners, is that you look at the last few bullets, and it's so common sense, both for your business and for your home. Automatic updates, changing passwords, have passwords that don't say password 123 or just 1234. I know that sounds trite, but you find so many people who don't pay attention to it, and some of them may be on the phone. One thing we're very attentive to here at Freestyle is to rotating passwords. Well, we have to automatically renew our passwords every so often days. I think it's 30 days to 45 days here, and that just makes a lot of sense. One of the things we stressed, and we covered in a fairly extensive blog post over this year from Compass IT, a guest post from them, one of our partners, is phishing emails. And a very, very easy way. The people who do this is no longer the letters or emails from the people from princes in far off land asking you to help them get money out of some country. These have evolved into the mimic Federal Express orders, receipts from retailers you commonly shop at, banks, so many things, so many different ways to ask for your credentials, including date of birth, passwords, social security numbers. And you may be fooled. I saw an email from supposedly about a Federal Express late delivery that I had to pause several seconds for, even being conscious of this, working in this industry, not to be fooled. So a couple of common sense suggestions is hover over links to see where they are. Hover over what looks like an email in the address bars, and you'll find that they are not from your bank. They are not from Federal Express. They are from some nefarious person who has ill will intended for you. So again, a little suspicion goes a long way here. And invest in your firewall, invest in your background technology. Hosting is a good solution as well. If your organization doesn't have the manpower or expertise to do a great job with this, consider hosting. Consider hosting applications. We've had a very big groundswell of support here at Freestyle with many of our customers who traditionally had on-premise installations of our solutions and have gone to hosting with us. So it's things you can do no matter how big your IT organization are to protect yourselves, and it goes a long, long way. Customer experience and AI. This is a very, very intriguing and developing part of our business. And take a look at the quote we have up there from Forrester. I think it goes to the recognition how artificial intelligence can help. We've all heard big data. We've all seen the ads that talent for us as we do some shopping. I mean, you're shopping on a clothing site, for example, and the next thing you know, when you go to one of your news sites, you're seeing advertisements. That's the collection of data and big data and the background infrastructure that enables all that. But look at the numbers. 33% of retailers understand it. 67% do not. So there's a lot of growth and opportunity in artificial intelligence. And I think there's a lot of democratization in AI tools. They're becoming more commonplace, becoming more robust, and also moving to the smaller markets. So many of these could be available to you in the SMB space. And you don't have to be Dell computer or IBM to be able to take advantage of this. It's coming to our markets. And there's a few things that you have here, distinguishing household members, pick up where you left off. These are things that are well within reach now. And one of our own customers, Pulse TV, has done some great work in this area. And they're really doing some leading edge and innovative work through their own business. And they've developed a new product called Sarah, and the website, as you can see, is right there. So I think many people are familiar with the idea of looking at abandoned cart data. But there's a step before that. So it's people who are viewing products, but it never makes it to their cart. And if you can capture that information, capture emails, and retarget marketing to them, to those consumers for the same or similar products, you dramatically increase your chances of making a sale and building brand loyalty. And this is really cutting edge stuff, and I encourage you all to take a look, just to have knowledge of some of the things that are being done in the marketplace. They're very, very exciting. So we bring to a little bit more fun part of this. So Sean and I have been talking about millennials. You remember through our conversation before, Sean is a millennial, and I am not. But even millennials are baffled by Generation Z, and that's a generation just behind millennials. So we've given you some details here. The very basic one is, what is a Gen Z? Well, they're born after 1996. So that includes teenagers and very, very young children. So we're not expecting so much that 2-year-olds are going to be making buying experiences, but you know what? Who knows? That may be coming in the very, very near future. There may be some intuitive algorithms that combines brain scans, and I don't even want to go there. But if you've spent any time figuring out how to treat millennials, how to capture the business, you have somebody else to think about. It's not just millennials anymore, it's Generation Z. And they're even more comfortable with technology than millennials do. Millennials remember fondly the days when they heard that tone for modems going with AOL and You've Got Mail. A Gen Z wouldn't know what you're talking about and would be baffled by that and said, you went online for a phone? What are you, crazy? Where did you live? But they do have different buying characteristics. And one of the most important ones is to realize that some of them are actually too young to have credit cards. And they go to stores. But that will change. So at one hand, they are, at this point in life, supporting in-store purchases, and they go to stores to solve problems because they don't know about something and want to experience it. And experiences, as you see further down here, they care about the experiences. They want something that's tangible. But their buying experience is different. One is they are more frugal than millennials. And the frugality is not just price. They look at with expectations about shipping. So looking at the whole buying experience, both from the experience itself, the satisfaction level, that subjective level, but also from the financial level. They're also very impatient. You have one shot to get their business, and if you don't do it right, you could lose them. So their buying framework, their buying ethos, their buying experience and logic is very, very different. And you will see that they will become a bigger consideration in how you gear up your business, how they affect your business, and even how they affect, for this time being, the parents' buying experiences. So what we want to suggest is that teens are really retail's barometers. They are the first to embrace changes, the first to embrace buying trends, and you can tell a lot by what's happening in the retail landscape by what they are doing. At the same time, they present a very different problem and set of dynamics for the e-tailer and retailer at the same. So a little bit of fun here. Sean, I don't know, have you had some frustration with Generation Z yet?
Not directly. I mean, when it comes to that, I feel like even the later half of millennials are more Generation Z. They're more into figuring out how to solve their problem. They're more about the experience, about how, not what the features are of the product, but they have a specific problem that they want to, and they're more interested about the experience that they'll get when they use the product. For example, looking at a tablet, for example, they're more interested in knowing how they can go ahead and watch Netflix and stuff like that, rather than the fact that when I worked at Best Buy, one of the common questions, does this do Netflix? That type of question. And the answer would be yes, it does Netflix, and millennials are fine with that. Generation Z, I see them more, so how does it do it? Show me. Oh, they're more hands-on. They want to see more.
They want to see what the Netflix viewing experience is like.
Yeah.
And, for us whom are not millennials or Generation Z, our experience is often, why would you want to watch Netflix on a tablet? Why don't you watch it on your big screen TV?
Exactly. Why would I want to watch it on this 12-inch screen when I have a 55-inch in the other room that I can watch it on as well? That type of thing. I mean, this is a step further of instant gratification, where millennials, if it does, it's great. I want it now. Generation Z is taking that a little step backwards in a sense, where they're more worried about how the experience will affect them. They don't
and the environment too.
Yeah, and the environment too. So I mean, it's almost going a step backwards in a sense if you think about it that way. But also they're taking that. They're giving more responsibility to the retailers by saying they're willing to go into the store. They won't making a purchase at a retail store compared to an online store is a totally different thing. But I mean, we're seeing a lot out of that. So
I think the takeaway from this is that it's okay if you don't understand it, understand Generation Z. You will, but you have to recognize the importance of their place in the marketplace and the buying power. And that brings us to the overall prediction. So I think we've covered a lot of these, so I will step through this very, very quickly because I know you've been online and listened to us for a while. So mobile ready, yes, we covered all the reasons for that. You need a mobile strategy. You have to think about the speed of commerce, both from the infrastructure that supports your website, how commerce is conducted on your website, and then the back-end speed of everything that you do to help your customers and to get the product to them very, very quickly, and even more quickly, that's going to be just as critical. Omnichannel, we've talked about as well, and even for pure play e-tailers, it's going to affect your business. And for those of you who have brick-and-mortar stores or are thinking about it, it's an important consideration about how you use those. It's not just a storefront, it's a place to that also complements and supports your online presence as well. With security, we mentioned, very, very important. Bad things are going to happen. Take as much care as you possibly can. Keep up with the trends, keep up with the security, keep up with how you manage your infrastructure. And if that isn't something that you want to do, then consider outsourcing and having your applications hosted. We talked about shipping, and we had a couple of questions about that already, about what we do with Shippo in particular, as it relates to mode selection and speed of shipping and cost containment, and also about £7 and getting some of those refunds that you so richly deserve when your carriers so carefully selected don't do what you want or your customers want. So have a plan for Generation Z. We're all going to have to work together on that. And then the impact of Amazon and Walmart in the marketplace.
So, for interest of time, and we thank you guys for sticking around and listening to us talk about that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about, how we can help. So Freestyle Solutions can be your solutions for both e-commerce and inventory and order management. Freestyle SiteLink integrates with Multi-Channel Order Manager, or M.O.M for short. Obviously, what that means, you can update and adjust practically everything within M.O.M to publish directly to SiteLink. Now, with that being said, SiteLink, you may have something already. Well, we can still help you with the Multi-Channel Order Manager. Manage your multiple e-commerce sites under one roof that can easily manage your inventory, orders, products, and customers. We can easily process your orders from various e-commerce sites and marketplaces. Let's not forget, too, going back up to SiteLink, we do also help you out with your mobile presence as well. So if you're looking to revamp or enhance your mobile presence, SiteLink can help you with that, and that directly ties in with Multi-Channel Order Manager. And then plan ahead and plan often. Now, we have the ability to forecast inventory within Multi-Channel Order Manager. You want to make sure that you have the ability to be ahead of the game and ready for, surprisingly enough, holiday 2018, because it's never too early to think about what you're going to be doing for next holiday, because people are already out there, already analyzing, predicting, as we mentioned, what's going to happen within the holiday season of 2018. So you want to make sure, not only for your short-term gearing you up for the holidays, but you want to make sure during that holiday season, too, that you have the key inventory for you so you can sell it quickly and efficiently to those customers. So that's how we can help. We want to take it.
I did have one question that's come in, Sean, is that it was interesting, when should you start preparing for holiday 2018? And that's a great question, because, as Sean said, it's never too early, but it can be too late to plan for holiday 2018. So our best recommendation is, and, for our own customer base, we started a series of webinars and blog posts dedicated to them, really, and it was in mid-September, I believe, when the first customer webinar started, and they continued on throughout the end of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter. And if you really are taking a look at what your infrastructure is, and you're trying to make some decisions about what you need to do, it's never too early to discuss, because you need time to document your requirements. You need time to think about those and validate those requirements internally. You need time to review suppliers, and you need to have time to select and then ramp up and implement. And if you want to be live and any part of your infrastructure for holiday 2018, you need to have that really taken care of and have started and ideally finished implementation prior to the start of the fourth quarter. So just a couple of things to consider to make your holiday season in 2018 bright. And, again, as we said before, very funny we're talking about holiday 2018 when we're not even a month past Christmas. But the reality is that the buying is over, the returns are over, the regrets are hopefully over as well. And now you're looking ahead to seeing how you can support and move and advance your business for 2018.
So, with that being said, Jim and I would like to thank you for joining us today. It was a very informative, really heavily information-driven webinar. We hope you guys learned a lot. If you do have any questions from us, you can email marketing@freestylesolutions.com with any feedback, suggestions, comments, or concerns, questions that you may have about what you learned today, or SiteLink, eCommerce, and Multi-Channel Order Manager. Be on the lookout tomorrow for an email which contains a link to this recording itself. Our webinars from the past year are available on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Freestyle Solutions. Also, make sure you take a look at the handout that we have here available if you haven't already, which gives you an idea of what SiteLink, eCommerce, and Multi-Channel Order Manager can do for you, as well as this handout. Once again, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you soon.